My beloved child, stop scrolling for a moment. Do not move past these words yet, because something has shifted behind the scenes, and you are about to hear a story that may explain why the energy around your person has felt so strangely different. Last night, someone finally spoke. Not a stranger, not an outsider, someone who has known your person for years. Someone who has watched their choices, their heartbreaks, their doubts, their silences, their brother, and what he finally told them about you was not what your person expected to hear. It was not a casual opinion. It was not another piece of family advice. It was something he had apparently been holding inside for far too long. A truth about you, a truth about what happened between you, and a truth about why your person may have spent so much time believing something about you that was never completely true. Pause here, my beloved child. Before your heart starts racing, understand this carefully. This is a fictional spiritual story created for reflection and inspiration. Not a claim about events happening in your real life. But within this story, heaven is asking you to imagine what happens when the person who has been silent finally decides that silence is no longer protecting anyone. Because last night, the brother looked at your person and realized something. The truth had become heavier than the secret. And once that happens, even the strongest silence begins to crack. Your person had been carrying a belief about you, a belief they thought was certain. They thought they understood why you disappeared. They thought they understood why the connection became complicated. They thought they knew what you felt. They thought they knew what you had chosen. But their brother knew there was something missing. He knew there was another side to the story. And last night, he finally decided to tell it. Imagine the room. It is late, the kind of late when people stop pretending. The noise of the day has disappeared. Phones are sitting untouched. The family is quiet. Your person is sitting there thinking about something else entirely when their brother says your name. Your person's attention changes immediately, because there are certain names that still have the power to change the temperature of a room. Your name is one of them. Your person looks at him. There is a pause, and the brother does not continue immediately. He seems to be choosing his words carefully, almost as if he knows that once he says what he came to say, there will be no way to take it back. Your person asks, "Why are you bringing them up now?" And the brother looks at them. Then he says something your person was not prepared for. You never knew the whole story. Silence. That sentence alone is enough to awaken every memory. Your person starts remembering the first time you met. The moments when the connection felt effortless. The conversations that seemed to carry more meaning than either of you admitted. The sudden changes. The distance. The unanswered questions. The strange circumstances that seemed to appear at exactly the wrong time. And perhaps most painfully, the moment your person decided they had to let you go. They thought that decision was based on truth. But their brother was about to tell them that some of what they believed came from someone else's interpretation, and there is a difference, a very important difference, because when someone tells you what another person supposedly meant, you are not receiving the original truth, you are receiving a version, a translation, a perspective. And perspectives can be distorted by fear, by jealousy, by family expectations, by misunderstandings, by old wounds. Your person had trusted a version, and now their brother was about to reveal the missing pieces. But before he did, he asked a question. He asked your person whether they still thought about you. Your person became quiet. That silence answered more than words could have. Because if they truly felt nothing, there would have been no reason to hesitate, no reason for their eyes to change, no reason for the room to suddenly feel uncomfortable. The brother noticed. Of course he noticed. He had been noticing for a long time. He had watched your person pretend to be fine. He had seen them avoid your name. He had seen them act indifferent when someone mentioned you. He had watched them become unusually quiet after hearing something that reminded them of you. And perhaps he had wondered how long they could keep pretending. So last night, he stopped allowing the performance. He said, "You still care." Your person denied it, at least at first. They said it was in the past. They said they had moved on. They said too much had happened. But the brother did not argue. He simply looked at them and said something even more powerful. If you moved on, why have you never stopped asking what happened? That question landed differently, because your person had been asking, maybe not openly, maybe through other people, maybe through old conversations, maybe by quietly checking for news, maybe by remembering dates, maybe by revisiting places connected to you. But they had been asking, why did it end that way? Why did you behave that way? Why did they disappear? Why did everything change so suddenly? And now their brother was telling them that the answers they had accepted might have been incomplete. My beloved child, this is where the spiritual lesson becomes deeper. Sometimes the person you miss is not only fighting the distance between you, they are fighting the story they believe created that distance. They may believe you rejected them. They may believe you chose someone else. They may believe you never cared as deeply as they did. They may believe you said something that wounded them. They may believe someone else knew you better than they did. And sometimes the greatest barrier between two hearts is not lack of love. It is misinformation, a misunderstood moment, a message read without context, a conversation repeated incorrectly, a family member making an assumption and presenting it as fact. One small distortion can become a wall, and walls become harder to climb when both people think the other person built them. Your person may have believed you built the wall, but their brother knew something. You did not build it alone. Perhaps you did not build it at all, and that was the truth he finally revealed. He told your person about a conversation they had never heard, a conversation that happened after you and your person had already begun drifting apart, a conversation involving someone close to the family, someone who claimed to be protecting your person, someone who believed they knew what was best. And during that conversation, your name came up, not as a stranger, not as someone irrelevant. You were discussed as someone who mattered, someone whose presence had emotional consequences, and your person's brother remembered something important. The person speaking about you was not neutral. They had feelings about the situation. They had their own fears, their own assumptions, their own reasons for wanting your person to step away, but your person did not know that. They heard the conclusion without hearing the motive, and they made a decision based on it. The brother had carried that knowledge. Maybe he thought it was too late to reveal. Maybe he feared destroying the family. Maybe he did not want to become responsible for reopening an old wound, but last night, he realized that the wound had never actually closed, it had simply become quieter, and quiet pain is still pain, so he began telling your person everything he remembered. He told them about the timing, he told them about what was said, he told them what you had supposedly done, then he corrected it, he said, "That isn't exactly what happened." Your person looked at him, "Then what happened?" The brother hesitated, and this hesitation mattered, because the truth was bigger than one misunderstanding. There was a second layer. Your person had believed that you had willingly walked away. They believed you had chosen distance. They believed you were not interested in repairing the connection. But their brother told them something completely different. He told them you had been hurt, deeply. And instead of understanding your silence as pain, your person had interpreted it as rejection. That realization alone could break open years of emotional confusion, because imagine discovering that the person you thought had stopped caring may have been silent because they were hurting. Imagine realizing that while you were waiting for them to reach out, they were waiting for you. Two people, two wounded hearts, two assumptions, and a silence neither one understood. But the brother was not finished. He told your person that there had been a moment when someone wanted to contact you, someone wanted to explain. And the reason was not what your person expected. The family believed that too much had already happened. They believed reopening the situation would create conflict. They believed it would be easier for everyone if you remained apart. Easier. That word can destroy so much. People sometimes choose what feels easier instead of what is true. They choose silence because truth requires courage. They choose distance because conversation is uncomfortable. They choose pride because vulnerability feels dangerous. But what is easy for one moment can become painful for years, and the brother realized that. He realized that the family had protected temporary comfort at the expense of long-term truth, so he looked at your person and said something they will not easily forget, "We should have told you." Your person asked, "Told me what?" And the brother finally revealed the first major piece. He told them that you did not leave the way they thought you did. You were not indifferent. You were not laughing and moving on. You were not celebrating the end. You were hurting. You were trying to understand why the person you cared about suddenly became distant. And your person heard this in silence. Because suddenly, old memories were changing shape. A moment they remembered as your coldness now looked like sadness. A message they interpreted as rejection now sounded different. Your silence no longer looked empty, it looked wounded, and perhaps your person's greatest pain was realizing they had never asked you. They had simply believed someone else. That is a hard truth for anyone to face, because it means the past cannot be changed by saying, "I didn't know." Your person may have realized that they should have asked, they should have come directly to you, they should have trusted the connection enough to seek clarity. Instead, they allowed another person's interpretation to become their reality, and now the brother was forcing them to confront that. But then he said something that made your person completely still. He said, "There is something else you need to know." Those words are never casual. because when someone says them after already revealing something painful, it means the story is not finished. Your person's expression changed. They asked, "What?" The brother looked away for a moment. Then he told them about a message connected to you, a message your person never received, a message that had been written during the period when both of you were struggling, a message that could have changed everything if it had reached its destination. Your person asked who had it. The brother did not answer immediately. That silence was louder than anything. Your person asked again. And finally, the brother named someone your person trusted, someone they believed had been helping them, someone they believed had only wanted to protect them from getting hurt. But according to the brother, this person had known about the message. They knew it existed. They knew what it said. And they never told your person. That revelation changed the room. Your person stood up. Perhaps they walked away. Perhaps they needed air. Because suddenly, this was no longer about an old romance. It was about trust. Who had been honest? Who had been protecting whom? Who had decided that your person did not deserve to know what you had written, and why? The brother followed them. He said, "I didn't tell you because I thought it would make everything worse." Your person turned around, and now? The brother answered quietly, "Now I think not telling you has made everything worse." My beloved child, there are moments when a person finally realizes that the truth they feared was less painful than the uncertainty they carried. That moment may have arrived for your person, because they began asking questions rapidly. What did the message say? When was it sent? Who received it? Why was it hidden? Did you know it never reached them? Did you think they ignored you? Did they think you ignored them? The brother answered what he could, but there were things even he did not know. And that created another mystery, because the message had not simply disappeared, it had gone somewhere. Someone had seen it, someone had read it, and someone had made a decision about whether your person should ever know. Your person wanted that person's name. The brother hesitated. Then he gave it, and suddenly, your person remembered something. A conversation from years ago. A strange comment. A moment that had never made sense. Someone saying, "You should just let it go." Someone telling them that contacting you would only create more pain. Someone insisting that you had already moved on. At the time, your person had trusted the advice. Now they were seeing the pattern. The pieces were connecting, and the more pieces connected, the more uncomfortable the truth became, because this was not one misunderstanding, it was a chain. One assumption led to another. One person's opinion became another person's certainty. A message disappeared. A conversation was misunderstood. A silence was interpreted. And two people who may have cared deeply for one another were left believing they had been rejected. That is the tragedy. Not that love always fails, but that sometimes love is never given the chance to speak clearly. And last night, your person's brother decided that the silence had lasted long enough. He told them one final thing, something he had never admitted before. He said he had seen you once after the separation. He had seen your face. He had seen how you looked when someone mentioned your person's name. And he knew then that the story being told about you could not possibly be the whole truth, because your expression gave away what your words never could. You still cared, and your person's brother knew it. He carried that memory. He remembered it, and last night, he finally told your person. Your person became silent, not angry, not defensive, just silent, because somewhere inside, they already knew. They knew they had never truly stopped caring either. They had simply learned how to hide it, and now the brother had taken away the hiding place. He had given their heart permission to remember, but then came the most unexpected revelation of the night. The brother said there was one more thing, something that had happened recently, something involving you, something your person had never been told. He said that a few days earlier, someone had mentioned your name again, and this time, the conversation revealed that you had been asking questions too. Your person stared at him. About me? The brother nodded. Your person asked what you had said. The brother did not answer. Instead, he reached for his phone. He opened something. He looked at the screen. Then he looked back at your person, and the expression on his face changed. Because what he was about to show them was not an old message. It was recent, very recent, and it contained your name. Your person took the phone. They read the first line, then the second, and before they could reach the final sentence, their entire expression changed, because suddenly, they understood something that could not be explained away. You had never said what they thought you said. You had never closed the door the way they believed. And the brother had been carrying this knowledge until last night, but there was still one problem. The message ended with a sentence that raised an even bigger question, a sentence that your person read twice, then a third time. Because it suggested that you had been waiting for someone to tell you the truth, and when your person finally understood who had kept that truth from you, they looked at their brother and asked the question that no one in the family was prepared to answer. Who else knew? The brother lowered his eyes. He knew the answer. And my beloved child, that answer is where the next chapter begins.